So, I'm confused. Who exactly is Riot balancing for? So recently, we have gotten a preseason update on the PvE, and they introduced this nifty little addition about plants here. Now, if you don't know, there are 3 types of plants that are just going to randomly spawn in the jungle in preset areas. Like, they could be in the river, in certain entrances. Um, And it's going to be different for all of the plants. The Squire's Bloom plants are going to spawn differently from the honey fruit plants, from the blast cone plants. So if you haven't taken a look at this, I'll link it in the comments about the video. But basically, one of the plants, you hit the plant and it heals you. Another plant, you hit it and it knocks you and anyone around in the area away from the plant area. And then the third one is based on vision. Now, I'm very confused. Who exactly is this for? Because Riot's been pretty consistent as of late in terms of balancing for, like, the lower end of the spectrum, you know, the most common people. Not the top 1%, not the top 10%. They're looking at the bottom 90% who are in, like, gold or whatever. Don't quote me on that number, by the way. And they made certain changes to the game that make it very, very accessible and much easier to understand. Warding became a lot simpler. Supports see a lot more gold. Jungling gives buffs, making it easier to clear early to mid game. And you know that's fine and everything. But then they like kind of threw this like wrench into the system where they completely changed the jungle, and I'm still not sure who it's for. You definitely aren't going to see like a low elo player, you know, someone in silver, someone in gold, using Squire's Bloom effectively. And in high elo, it's going to completely change certain situations, because if you use it correctly, you're able to sweep out like 5 million wards that the team that was behind had just placed to like recoup some sort of advantage, or like, you know, just to stay safe in their own territory. And then you use this one Squire's Bloom and you suddenly see 3 wards. It's like, well, you know exactly where to go, you know exactly how to clear them out, and stuff like that. And so we have that plant, right? And then we have the honey fruit plant, which is like, okay, I kind of get it, like, but you're increasing variance for people who like already know their damage outputs. This is the higher end of the spectrum here. People that understand their damage outputs that are trying to get a kill. Oh, he just walked into a river because there was nowhere else to go, and he hits his thing, and he gets a bunch of health back. That's really cool and interesting. Oh, he has his cooldowns again. Oh, the jungler's here. Oh, I'm dead. You know, very super exciting stuff here. Like, this is gonna happen, you know, in all across the spectrum. So I don't really understand why honey fruit exists, right? And then we have the blast cone. Once again, low elo people are not going to be using this correctly. They're going to like screw over their teammates. They're going to screw over like themselves even, or like they're just going to be cheesed out of kills and stuff like that. So like it's like it seems like they're adding things to make the game more interesting in comparison to say other new interesting fresh games. Overwatch. You know, they're just like, is there really a need for this? I don't really understand what they're trying to get at here. I guess like the biggest guess I can make out of this is that they're trying to increase the variance of the low end and create more interesting jungle paths and like mid-game skirmishes for the higher end of the spectrum. But really, what's going to end up happening is, like every preseason this happens, lane evade is going to be the most important part of the game. Either these plants will be absurdly broken, and you'll need to contest every single one, or they'll be completely worthless, and nobody will ever touch them. Which is not a good thing. A lot of this happens a lot with Riot, in fact. Their balancing philosophy is basically this. That like they consistently do with like so many champions. We can look at like Azir. Let's see, who is another big offender? Gnar. Gnar's a huge offender of this. Jace, Nidalee, Elise. Like they like making all this gameplay based around whether something's like excellent or something's like really terrible, and you're able to tell it's terrible. And that's like the whole clarity thing, which I kind of get, but it's like, it doesn't feel satisfying to like have your champion that you put all this time into being nerfed, or like being nerfed to a reasonable level. They were doing a good job of it last season, in all honesty. But then this season, I don't know, they've just been dropping the ball all over the place. And, like, they're giving us a bit back. I'll give them that. Like, they're giving us replays, they're giving us sandbox mode, they're giving us a bunch of other stuff. But to introduce this, when they're doing, like, when they're really, like, finally picking it back up, really doesn't really make much sense. So there are my thoughts on Plants and Riot's philosophy in general. I would like to see it change back to Season 4 or 5, where they were doing a really, really, really good job of just, like, balancing and finding a happy median. But as of late, it's been really bouncing for, like, the floor. And it's not, while it's a good way to draw in players, it's not going to be healthy for the game overall. And you're going to see, like, a lot of high-end players be really dissatisfied with the game and eventually just, like, quit. And then, you know, there goes your entire competitive scene. I guess the argument here is that those players will stick around no matter what because it's going to become a job at the end of the day. But we're not quite at that point yet in North America or the West in general. So, you know, you're probably kind of playing with fire here, in my humble opinion. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you agree, disagree, feel free to comment, chat with me in the comment section. Thank you very much, and you have a good one.